Good morning, and salam alaikum, alaikum salam, que sabi la kutare. Like Tatanfumbe says, con mucho más simene. Tatanfumbe been trying to get me on a live for a while. We're gonna do it one day. Let's see what happens. How could we get this thing going? I was driving around this morning like always. You know, I'm making the donut, guys. You know, I always come out here now and then, try to make a video too, at least 2 videos a week or whatever, you know, talking on different types of subjects. I just don't speak about Palo. I try to stick to Nkisi Malonga stuff, but, you know, other things that need to be talked about or I feel like I want to talk about, I talk about because, you know, it's part of life, you know, and I'm driving here and I'm thinking about comments and questions either through email or through the comments on YouTube or on Facebook, because I opened up a page over there. I mean, it's not that busy, but here and then I get a comment or a text through there with the messenger. And I was speaking to a young lady, I would say about 2 weeks ago. I think it was her, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure. I think it was her. But she had left a comment on one of the videos, I think like a couple of weeks ago. And part of her comment was, and I'm trying to word it how she said it, but I don't remember exactly. But in other words, why is it that us people, the ones that are in the struggle, you know, let's say the African American, the Latinos in general, I'm not, you know, we do know that there are Caucasians out there also. They live a hard life, but when you do a lot of the counting of the statistics and you see who are the predominant people that live in the ghettos, as we call them, the suburban areas and stuff like that, then you will notice that it is the Latinos and the African American and you know, black people, whether they be African American or, you know, from any culture, any tradition, Nigerian, you know, Yoruba, you know, or anything. I mean, or Bantu or Congo or Haitian, you know, all types. Because here in Philadelphia, where I live at, the predominantly here, the African American here, the predominant. When I say African American, out of respect, you know. Not being disrespectful, that's, you know, brown people and African Americans, like the only word that I could use to try to show some respect, you know, because I'm like I said, you know, I'm mixed, so I don't have nothing against African American people. My grandchildren are African American, half African American, so I don't, you know what I mean. So here in Philly, especially in North Philadelphia, South and Southwest Philly, the predominant African Americans here are Muslim. Yeah, they are a lot Christian, but in the area that I live at, and in those areas, they say big Muslim community here in Philadelphia. So, you know, I always run across Muslims and, you know, speak to them and they speak to me, and, you know, I used to practice Islam way back and study it and all that. It's one of the religions that I had got into way back, and kind of got myself, you know, deep and delved into it. But we're talking about the Sunni Muslims, not the Shiite, and not this new age type of Islamic thing going on where, you know, everything is, yippee, 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 hey, hey, happy, happy. I'm talking about, Muslims that go back to more of the oldest traditions of the Islamic faith, and they follow it real to, I'm not going to say to the letter, but I'm going to say close to the letter, as original as it can be, if we could say that. Because, there's always some deviation and something. So this is here in Philly, everywhere I go, I always bump into Muslims and I speak to them and all that. And, it's great to have conversations with them, especially the old heads, They've been around from the Nation of Islam, and how that started with Malcolm X and now, Louis Farrakhan and all this stuff, so it's interesting to me, to learn and speak to brothers and see their perspective and their point of view on the traditions or the religions they are in. I have spoken to a lot of Christian people from different denominations. Me coming from a Christian background myself and my family, well, it's part of us. But back to the question. The question was, why does it seem like, and I'm paraphrasing, I don't remember exact the words, it was, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 weeks back. Why does it seem like they are considered the low of the low, in other words, minorities? Why are we into these ATRs? Why do we practice, whether it is Ocha Santeria, whether it is Ifa, whether it is the Congo-based or Bantu religion, or why do we go back to Egyptology? Why this? And it's always us, the low, And, I thought about it for a while. I don't know if I texted back and gave her my point of view or not. I do not remember. But I thought about it for a while. And, I always had this type of mindset, when I grew up and I started reasoning, because, we're young, we don't think with our brain, we think with other things, and we just living life the way, we see it, we just trying to get it. And that's, in other words, and we unfortunately get it in the wrong ways. And that's part of us living in this jungle of asphalt, jungle of cement, because here in Philly is practically no grass. Everything is cement and asphalt, concrete. But, I always thought and always believed, no matter whether I was practicing a faith or a religion or something, or diving into it, because I've always been looking for what is our purpose here. Why did I come here for? Why was I born? Why do we have to struggle so much? And I speak as a whole, African Americans and Latinos. Why do we struggle so much? Why do we have to go to these, hard times and hard living? Why do we have family members that kind of, through generations do the same things? When I say why we have these family members, I mean, we have family members who are drunkards, they drink, you understand? We got addiction family members that are deeply into addictions. We got children that get either pregnant or impregnate another female at a young age, and the parents have to help to raise, or that child that had a child now is raising a child, and she's a child herself, or he's also a child, so we all go through these things. So why is it that we have this belief? Why is it that we are so people of spirit, of believing in spirituality, and the quickest thing and the most easiest thing that I could tell you is is ingrained in our ancestry, is ingrained in our blood and our DNA. You understand? This is how I see it. I see it like, you know, our ancestors had a culture, had a belief system. Yeah, it might have been different from certain other traditions and cultures, but they always had a key concept in the world, you know, knowing that this was created by a power. You understand? Whether they call the sun god or the moon god or the stars, or whether they worship the tree. You know, people say, yeah, such people, they worship this tree and yeah, but you don't understand. You're not, you don't, you have to be in that culture and understand that culture and able to really understand what do you mean when you read that they worship that tree, because you really don't understand. You didn't live those days. You understand? You don't really know, you know, if they really was worshiping the tree, or there was something that they was worshiping through that tree, giving thanks for or whatever, because of what a tree can do and provide for a human, a muntu, a person, us, humanity. What a flower could do, you know, what an herb could do, fruits, vegetables, potatoes, you understand? The agricultural system, you know, back then when the air was pure, when there wasn't no contaminations, when there was very little diseases, you know, where things were like, you know, it was about family and survival and living. It wasn't the way it is these days, you know. So back to her question, what I go back to is, we are people that are born with this. It's instilled in us naturally. We're born either in a family that has a belief system, you know, whether they Christian, whether they Muslim, whether they Buddhist, whether they Santeros, Paleros, whatever the tradition is, we are born into these traditions. And as we get older, we ourselves either follow that tradition or we look for our own spirituality. You see, I got family that are Pentecostal Christians. I got family that are Catholics, which are Christian also. But if you notice, the Pentecostals do not worship Mary, do not worship none of the saints like St. Peter, St. John. They don't worship angels or none of that. But the Catholics do. They worship St. Mary, St. Peter, St. John, St. Paul, all of these, you see. So there's a difference in the doctrine, okay? And then I have family members as I was growing up that some were into Spiritismo, some were into the 21 divisions, some were into Santeria, or a mixture. Paleros, I never in my family heard of anyone following Kisimalongo. I do not know. I was young. So how can I really tell? I only could remember of going to certain festivals, certain things that were done in New York in the basements, you understand, where things were more hidden. It wasn't so open, you know, so things were done more in the basement of a building. And, you know, I remember myself being, you know, with all these type of people, different, you know, clothes or dressed with different type of colors, clothes on with beanies or what we call kufis or certain funny hats that to me was, you know, I'm a kid, but I would see that they would have, you know, the tambores, you know, the bongoses, the drums and stuff like that, that would play them. And I would see people being mounted. What I didn't understand is that they were being mounted. I saw that, you know, to me it was something we would say demonic or crazy, because I didn't know what was going on, but I was always pushed in this. My mom always would go, my aunts would be in this type of fellowship in these traditions. So we are people that believe in a creator, who whatever it may be, because We don't know. We don't know. We don't put no gender of what it is, but we know that something created us and something created this world. Something. Because we couldn't have come out from nothing. You understand? And yeah, there's scientists say this, scientists say that. And some point, in some ways, scientists have some of it, but not completely. So we can't go by that. So, what I come out here to say is that we have to remember that we come from people that traditionally had their own culture, had their own customs, had their own belief systems, had their own way of living. And those days are not these days. So through generation and generation, things get passed down. Yeah, a lot of it gets watered down. A lot of it gets corrupted by whoever's in power, whoever is ruling. You understand? But still, in our blood, in our soul, in our DNA, where we come from, that Nsinga Dikanga, that umbilical cord, we always gonna have it, no matter what. You understand? So we are people that been through slavery, and the least was, the people of color. The last slavery was the people of color, the ones that were slaves, because in the Americas, Taino Indians and other American Indians of different type of tribal and tribes were enslaved also. You understand? But we don't hear much of that because that happened before. Slavery was brought here to America with bringing in the people of darker hue, black people, if you want to say, colored people. You understand? So, unfortunately, we intermingled and got all mixed, between the Indian, the natives, the African people that were born here from different tribes. But predominantly, we know it was the Congo Bantu people, and we know it was the Yoruba people, the predominant ones. You understand? Yeah, there were others, the Haitians, but it was more predominantly Haitian, Congo, and Yoruba, and we got mixed. But these people, they came in slavery, had their own belief system, had their own culture. The Indians that lived here in the Americas and in the Caribbeans, they had a culture, a belief system, a way of life, just like the Bantu or the Yoruba or the Congos that came. It was different in a sense, but they had things that were similar. Not all the same, but similitudes in practices, similitudes in living the certain ways of life and things like that. So we come from people that have some type of, we're going to say, faith in a creator, and if you notice, we are always looking for where we fit in. We're constantly struggling, finding, this church, oh no, things happen, this other church, no, Islam, no Islam, Buddhism, no, and we keep Zen, and we're looking because we are people of spirit. We are spiritual people. It is already in our blood. So we seek and seek and seek and seek. And remember, since it's already in our DNA, and knowing somehow, we know that there's something that created this and us, it doesn't take away that because we are the minority and the most people that are struggling, that it makes it to look and seem like, why is it that we minorities are the ones that are in these ATRs? This is not the case. This is not the problem. The problem is that you have to go back into slavery and see and understand how everything ended and how everything went into fruition, and how we all got conquered, and how our lands got taken over, and who are we under power, and who's in power now that we are under. We still continue to be under a power and a system that is not ours. that we don't have no control over. You understand? Yeah, we just don't have that, you know. So and we've been so indoctrinated, you know, with a lot of these faiths out here, that when we open our eyes and realize that what we are following or practicing is false and is a lie, sometimes for us, we look at it like it's tiring, too late, because either we're too old to seek or try to understand what is our real spirituality, what we really supposed to be doing, or we just don't do anything, give up, and start living a life, let's say, of sin, like they call it. Because in the scriptures, if you want to go into the scriptures and read what sin is anything that sin is anything in the scriptures that you do that's a law against it. So let's say if you do something that there's no law in the scriptures that rebukes it or condemns it, it's not a sin. You understand? But anything that rebukes it or condemns that becomes a sin, if you understand. So let's go back. So this is the reason why you see the predominant African American people, black people, colored people, Latino people, how we are the most ones that are in all these type of religions. Because we're seeking. We know that there's something that we just not here just for plays and giggles, and we know in our blood, in our spirit, but we are continuing to seek and seek and seek and seek, and some of us never find what we're supposed to be really doing and how we're supposed to be living our life and what goals we should be pushing to, you know, to accomplish in this life. You understand? Because we're only here for a little while. You understand? So I hope that with the little bit that I tried to explain, and I used a little bit of little Ibanez, a little ghetto there, you know, just to understand that I come from a poor upbringing also. I come from living in the ghettos. I lived in projects. You heard my story. I made a video on it. I lived in all these places. And to this day, I still live in what's considered the ghetto. You understand? But I work. I go to my house and I lock my door. And my door, when it's locked, I'm in another world. You understand? I'm not out here looking for nothing. I don't need that. You understand? We cannot cover our hand with the sun. We are no angels, especially us that are raised in the ghettos. There are certain things that we have lived in our lives, and as we get older and choose to change, we change and we live a more better or comfortable life to what we could manage. You understand? We're never going to be happy. We are never going to be happy. We are never going to be satisfied with what we have. We're never going to be happy people. The only thing that we could do is live our stages of life, live as comfortable as we can, work, provide for our family, and continue this spirituality and seek seek what you're seeking and accomplish what you want to accomplish in this life, and finish that race. In other words, try to finish the race that is moving. Every year that goes by, one of my sons or daughters, you know, I gotta wish them happy birthday. I look at my son, I'm like, wow, I'm getting older. I'm not looking at them, I'm looking at myself. Wow, I'm getting older. You understand? So I hope that I was able to kind of answer that question. Remember, we come from people that were enslaved. We remember that there's a big population out here that has an advantage over us through thousands of years, because I believe it's thousands, not hundreds, that has an advantage over us. And what takes one person to accomplish easily takes us harder work to be able to accomplish it, or at least get to that point. And I hope you guys understand. I don't mean no disrespect to anybody of any other race that's not of African descent or Latino descent, but unfortunately we have to be honest and understand that there are a great advantage point through and from a different culture of people that have a big head start because of us being in slavery and because of us building what has been built in this country. And I didn't include myself, because I include my ancestors. You understand? Just read history and you will find who were the predominant people that helped build America. And you will be quickly awakened if you're not already. Salam alaikum, alaikum salam. Please give me a thumbs up for the algorithm. I hope I answered the sister's question. If she needs any more information and she sees this video, as far as what I'm talking about, and as far as her question, she could email me. I think she has my email, my phone number, and I could speak a little bit more on it and be a little bit more loose with her and speak with her more fluently. But here we gotta be careful what we say, even though I'm not being monetized, but you know how YouTube is and how these platforms work. Salam alaikum, alaikum salam. Have a great day.